Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Wednesday weather update recorded on June the 26th. We're still tracking the storm offshore to the east, but we do have some high pressure on the way as we go in towards the long weekend. So let's try and make sense of what is happening. The centre of the low here, 990 hectopascals, it means that the centre of the storm isn't quite as stormy as it was last night when it peaked. It was at its most powerful, unfortunately, when it was at its closest to the North Island last night. It has started to drift back further away from us, and it will continue to do that. And so therefore the winds start to ease back, and then the rain will follow suit afterwards. And it's going to gradually taper off over the next 24 hours or so around the eastern side of the North Island. You've got kind of the same airflow pushing into eastern New Zealand. This side of the Chatham Islands, the northern side, is kind of subtropical. It's not necessarily warm, because it cools down as it tracks down past the Chatham Islands, but it's coming out of the subtropics. That's why there's so much rain. The other end of the country, there's a high pressure zone just down here, dredging up a colder airflow, and that's coming into the eastern South Island, either as an easterly or even a northeasterly wind. You can kind of see that here on the 6 p.m. wind map. Cooler airflows coming in for the South Island, fog patches, low cloud. That should start to break up over the next couple of days, and you'll see why in a moment. The low up here to the north tonight, still around, still windy weather pushing in, especially around places like Mahia Peninsula and up towards Gisborne and East Cape, and also windy in parts of Auckland and Bay of Plenty as well, and even parts of the lower North Island. So really the North Island, the exposed areas are getting caught up in it, but if you're in a sheltered zone, probably nothing to really talk about. Rainfall. Okay, now this is from 9 o'clock tonight until 9 o'clock Friday. So it's 48 hours, does not include this afternoon, mostly because many of you already know what is happening for today. Interesting to note that as of tonight, for the next 48 hours, the heaviest rain remains kind of in the northern Hawke's Bay area, between Wairoa and Lake Waikare Moana. So in that area there, that's where you're likely to see most of that wet weather. 120, 150 millimetres still possible in that area, but it does taper off further down the island and also further up. So mostly just into that northern Hawke's Bay area with the worst of the rain. And yes, some rain comes into the west coast, and that's from the next front on the way for Friday. So before that cold front comes in, this is it here on Thursday out at sea, before it comes in, there's a northwesterly wind that will start to form, and that should finally break up the cloud and foggy areas that you've been seeing around that southeastern corner of the South Island. Rain carries on in the east here. The winds aren't quite as bad, but the gale force winds might still be around marine areas, but you can see there's sort of a drop in the isobars, the white lines across the North Island. That's a sign that the winds are starting to come back down as the centre of the low weakens further and it's moving further away from us. Lunchtime Friday, Matariki, those of you who are having a 3-day weekend, the weather looking pretty settled to begin with. The storm is no longer a storm and it's moving away from us. May still just be a few showers sort of around Mahia Peninsula, Gisborne area, just a couple of showers coming in off the sea still, but the wind is easing and the wet weather is also clearing. Sunny weather comes back into Napier, but the clouds return to the west coast. There is the cold front that'll be coming into southern parts of Westland, Fiordland, and a few showers will also make it over into Southland and into Otago as well, but you're not talking about an overly wet day. On Saturday, that southerly change kind of moves up to Wellington, so you'll get a southerly coming through for you and a few showers. Most of the wet weather is along the western coastline. The good news for those of you in the east, you won't be seeing much in the way of wet weather. You might get a couple of showers, but nothing too much. But yeah, those showers, patchy kind of rain as that system moves up the North Island. Into Sunday, high pressure is nearby. The usual sou'westers, cloudy weather in the west at times, may still be an isolated shower or two. Often at this time of the year, they don't totally clear away. The good news is over here, the eastern North Island, mostly sunny and dry. In fact, mostly sunny and completely dry should be the forecast. And you've got some rain down here, once again around Southland, the southern half of Westland, and then you've got a few showers brushing Southland and Otago. Slightly cooler change coming off the Southern Ocean there, some snow along the mountains. And on Monday, wintry weather over here. It's snowing all across their ski fields at the moment. Over here there could be some snow around, but this is still a mild airflow coming down. So that means the rain is kind of warm, but higher up obviously it'll be falling as snow, but it might not be falling as low as you might like in some of those ski field areas. For example, we want some snow on Mount Ruapehu, and not a sign of that really with the warm subtropical north to northwesterlies building. But hey, the good news is here on Monday, those of you in the east, drying out, warming up, and the sun should be out. That is all from me. See you again tomorrow with our next update before we go into the long weekend.